Hello, Steve89. Well, I'm working through all the movies that I've bought and never watched, or watched and never saw again. And one thing I had quite a lot sort of building up was piling up were musicals. And I had a day, I went through four of them. I went through Oklahoma and West Side Story, Guys and Dolls, and Gypsy. And I did a sort of review of Oklahoma and Guys and Dolls. And I was planning to do all four in one, but it already was up to 5 minutes. So I thought I'll split it and I'll do the other two in their own review. So West Side Story. Now, West Side Story is one of those musicals that everyone knows. You know, it's basically Romeo and Juliet, so you know how it ends. But it still really worked. I was really surprised. Now, the first thing that gets you, I'd heard made fun of and parodied a lot, in that the gangsters basically all dance. There's no real movement in the film, or big sections of the film. It's all theatrical ballet sort of dance moves, and everything is a dance move. It's not realistic at all. It's very surreal, and I think in some ways that helps with the themes and the themes of gang violence and so forth, and the reality of it, but it also takes away from it in a way, and sort of in a way makes light of it in a sense. We see the Jets and the oh my God, what's the other gang's name? I can't remember the other gang. It's the Jets and when you're a jet, you're a jet. That's the song that I can remember. The politics of it is interesting. You're fairly aware that some of the actors are in brownface, even though I think they are the ethnicity they're portraying, but they made them up even more. That was one of the complaints that Rita Moreno made, was they made her up to look even more ethnic than she was. And to realise that Natalie Wood is actually playing, I think she's Hispanic. I just assumed she was playing a white girl, and I thought a white girl fell for one of the Mexican boys. It's actually around the other way. It's the white boy who's played by... oh my God, I really should write down these names. He played Ben Horne in Twin Peaks, and I've totally forgotten his name now. Oh damn! And Doctor, oh my God, the Doctor from Twin Peaks. So both these two characters who are in this film, who are famous for this film, both went on to be in Twin Peaks. And I found out later they were both in West Side Story together. I'm like, well, I should watch West Side Story to see, because Richard Beymer and I should remember his last name, because his daughter is now acting and she's sort of famous, so I recognise his last name more from her. I've forgotten. Either way, they Ben Horne plays the main sort of guy, Tony, and he was gorgeous back then. I didn't realise how beautiful he was, because he's quite a bit older in Twin Peaks, about 40 years later, 30 years later, and he falls in love with Maria, and it's Natalie Wood, with a lot of makeup, and it's very simple, very basic. They fall for each other. They can't be together, of course, because they're from the opposite sides, they're opposite gangs, and there's a fight, and Tony tries to stop the fight between the two gangs, because they're being pushed by one particular character who is just he's just, I don't know why he has to fight. But he tries to stop it, and he ends up, his friend gets killed, and he kills Maria's brother. So then that's halfway through the film. I was expecting that to be the end of the film. So halfway through the film, they have this fight, and then the rest of the film is Tony hiding and them trying to be together. She still loves him. She still wants to be him. She's letting the brother being killed go. Although, her friends aren't and the others aren't, and they end up, he ends up being killed by one of the other gang members from the other side. So there's no hope for them. There's no way they're ever going to be together. There's no way they're going to survive the film. That, but it's still shocking how it unfolds. Like, I thought that was the end of the film, that one of them died. I didn't realise it happens halfway through, and they spend the rest of the film negotiating around that, and then you sort of... I spent a lot of time wondering, how is this going to end? How is he going to end up being killed? Because it was killing the brother that really sort of stopped them from really ever being together, because they had the problems with the their sides fighting and not getting along, but they still could have been together until he killed her brother. So yeah. Some of it's a little disturbing because there was real gang violence back then, and there were real things happening, and they play it up in a way that's surreal. But you still have moments like when the guys actually are stabbed and died. It really takes you out of the film in a way because there's nothing surreal about it. It's horrible, and then you wonder how they're going to negotiate it, and then how it all ends, and it's very sad and stark. And the last shot is just like from the distance of. It's done well. It's a classic. There's a reason it's been around all this time. I'm surprised that I was surprised by it, and I'm glad I finally watched it.